The ward's hum seeps into my bones. Monitors beeping, carts clattering, voices weaving through the antiseptic haze. I pause at room 317, my fingers tightening around the clipboard's cold edge. The fluorescent lights sting my eyes, casting everything in a pale, unnatural glow. I adjust the stethoscope around my neck, the rubber grazing my skin, and step inside. Leo's there, half propped on the bed, his dark hair spilling across the pillow like a shadow I can't shake. His chart sits heavy in my mind. 32, fractured femur, opioid history, but it doesn't capture the way his hazel eyes pierce through me, sharp and unguarded. 3 weeks I've tended to him, 3 weeks of noticing how his voice dips when he says my name, how his gaze lingers like it's pulling me apart. "Evening, Mara," he says, his tone rough but warm, like a secret I shouldn't want to hear. He shifts, and I catch the wince that flickers across his face as the IV tugs. My pulse jumps, a quick, unsteady lurch, and I move to his side, my sneakers silent on the linoleum. "Evening," I say, forcing my voice to stay even, professional. I check the drip, my fingers brushing his skin. Warm, too warm, and the contact jolts through me, sharp against the room's chill. I pull back fast, clutching the chart like it's a shield. "You're late tonight," he says, and I feel his eyes on me, steady, searching, not accusing, just watching. His lips curve, a half smile that tightens something deep in my chest, and I don't know why it feels like a dare. "Busy shift," I mutter, flipping a page I don't need to see. Beyond the curtain, the ward pulses. Someone calls out a dosage, a phone rings unanswered. But here, the air thickens, pressing against me. I glance at him, catch the way his jaw clenches, then eases, and I wonder what he's holding back. "Busy saving people like me?" His voice is light, but his eyes aren't. They lock onto mine, and I feel it, a pull I can't name, tugging me somewhere I shouldn't go. I laugh, a small brittle sound, and turn to the monitor, watching the green lines dance. "Something like that?" My hands fumble with the pen, clumsy in a way I've never been. Not with patience, not with Julian, not in the life I've stitched together, until now. Midnight releases me into Seattle's damp embrace, the fog wrapping around streetlights like a shroud. My breath clouds as I cross the parking lot, the asphalt slick under my feet. The high-rise looms ahead, its glass face glinting in the city's restless glow. Julian's waiting. I know it. Sketching at the island, his silence a tether I used to cling to. Now, it feels like a weight I can't lift. The elevator hums up to 14, vibrating through me, and I step into the apartment. Julian's there, hunched over his tablet, pencil tucked behind his ear. His dark hair's mussed, his flannel sleeves rolled up, and I feel the quiet settle between us, thick with everything I haven't said. "Late again," he says, his voice low, steady. The stylus taps the screen, a soft beat matching the rain against the windows, and I wonder if he hears my unease in the spaces I leave empty. "Rough night," I say, shrugging off my coat. I cross to the fridge, the glass door cold against my palm as I grab water. The city sprawls beyond, lights bleeding into the fog, and I feel the gap widening, not just with him, but inside me, splitting open where Leo's touch still lingers. He looks at me then, his gray eyes steady, probing. "You okay?" It's rare, that question, and it lands hard, a stone sinking through my ribs. "Yeah," I lie, twisting the cap off. The water bites my throat, sharp and cold, but it doesn't drown the heat curling through me, the echo of Leo's voice threading into my thoughts. I turn toward the bedroom, the glass walls throwing back my reflection, a woman fraying, step by careful step. The hospital's late-night hush folds around me, a fragile veil as I step into room 317. Leo's awake, his hazel eyes glinting in the dim light, pulling me in like a tide I can't fight. My clipboard slips to the bedside table, forgotten, as my pulse races, a wild thing beneath my ribs. He shifts, the blanket sliding low, revealing the taut curve of his chest, the ink curling like a secret across his skin. "You're here," he says, his voice a low hum, thick with unspoken promise. My knees brush the bed as I near, drawn by the heat radiating from him, the scent of soap, and something darker threading through the air. I reach for his wrist, a pretense of duty, but my fingers linger, tracing the warmth, the steady beat that mirrors my own. His hand turns, capturing mine, and the contact ignites me, a slow burn that spreads, pooling low. "Stay," he whispers, tugging me closer, and I sink onto the mattress, the frame creaking beneath us. My scrubs graze his arm, a whisper of fabric, and then his lips find mine, soft at first, then insistent, a tide of hunger crashing through me. I taste him sharp and warm, a blend of coffee and need, and my hands slide to his shoulders, feeling the tension ripple beneath my touch. His fingers trace my waist, deliberate, igniting trails of heat through the thin cotton, and I arch into him, the world narrowing to the press of his body, the rhythm of his breath against my neck. My hair spills free, brushing his jaw, and I feel the tremor in him, the way he pulls me tighter, as if I might slip away. The air grows heavy, laced with the rustle of sheets, the faint creak of the bed, and I lose myself in the dance of it. The way his hands map me, the pulse of warmth where our skin meets, the unspoken claim in every move. Time dissolves, a haze of sensation, his lips trailing my collarbone, my fingers threading through his hair, the mattress yielding beneath us. I pull back, breathless, my chest tight with the weight of it, his gaze dark and unyielding as it holds mine. "We shouldn't," I murmur, but my voice betrays me, and his smile, small, knowing, cuts deep. I stumble home, the city's wet dawn a blur, my skin still alive with echoes of him. Julian's at the island, blueprints scattered, his gray eyes lifting to meet mine. "Late again," he says, and I feel the flush I can't hide, the tremor in my hands as I shed my coat. "Busy night," I mutter. But his silence presses against me, and I wonder if he senses the truth shimmering beneath my skin. The hospital calls me back, and Leo's there, his presence a magnet I can't resist. Room 317 glows faintly, the curtain swaying as I step inside, my breath uneven. His eyes lock onto mine, a silent pull, and I move to him, the space between us charged with what we've already begun. "Again?" he murmurs, but I don't answer. My lips crash into his, a desperate edge to the kiss, and he meets me with equal force. The bed dips as I climb astride him, my scrubs a thin barrier as his hands find my hips, guiding me closer. Heat blooms where we connect, a slow, consuming wave, and I feel the strength in him, the way his fingers press into me, igniting every nerve. My hands slide beneath his shirt, tracing the hard planes of his chest, the ink warm under my palms, and he groans softly, the sound vibrating through me. The air thickens, heavy with our mingled breaths, the rustle of fabric as I shift, losing myself in the rhythm of his touch, the way he explores me, the pulse of need threading through every caress. I return home, dawn breaking gray, my body still thrumming. Julian's by the window, his silhouette stark against the glass. "Where were you?" he asks, and I falter, caught in his steady gaze. "I know," he says, stepping closer, and my heart stumbles. "About him." "But then I want in," he adds, his voice low, alive with something fierce, and the room spins, desire and dread tangling tight. Later, I lead him to Leo, the hospital quiet as we enter room 317. Leo's eyes widen, but he nods, and Julian's beside me, his presence a storm. I feel them both. Julian's hand on my back, firm, possessive. Leo's reaching for me, familiar and bold. The air hums as we converge, a tangle of limbs and heat, my skin alive under their dual touch. Julian's lips graze my neck, deliberate, while Leo's hands roam, reigniting every ember, and I surrender to it. their rhythms blending, the press of them against me, the dizzying dance of three pulses entwined. The hospital room pulses around me, a cocoon of shadow and heat, the curtain swaying as if caught in our rhythm. Leo's beneath me, his hazel eyes locked on mine, a glint of challenge and surrender flickering through them. Julian's at my side, his breath warm against my ear, and I'm caught between them. Their hands, their presence, a storm I've unleashed and can't control. My scrubs cling to me, damp with the heat we've stirred, and the air feels dense, laced with the scent of skin and tension. Leo's fingers trace my hips, slow and deliberate, each touch a spark that races through me, pooling deep. I shift against him, the bed creaking softly, and feel the strength in his frame, the way he yields and resists all at once. My hands press into his chest, the ink beneath my palms warm and alive, and I lose myself in the sensation, the tautness of him, the faint tremor beneath my touch. His lips part, a sound escaping, low and raw, and it pulls me further, a thread of need tightening inside. Julian's hand slides along my back, firm, grounding, a contrast to Leo's restless exploration. He leans closer, his mouth brushing the curve of my neck, and the heat of him sears me, a slow burn that mingles with the fire Leo's stoked. I tilt my head, giving him more, and feel the scrape of his stubble, the quiet intensity he's held back so long. My breath catches, uneven, as his fingers tighten on my waist, guiding me, and I'm dizzy with it. Their dual claim, the way they move with me, around me, a dance of hunger and trust. The room blurs, the monitors beep a faint echo, and I'm lost in the tide of them. Leo's hands roaming higher, teasing the edges of my restraint. Julian's pressing lower, anchoring me to this moment. My hair spills loose, brushing Leo's jaw, and he catches it, tugging gently, drawing me down until our foreheads touch, our breaths mingling. Julian shifts, his chest against my shoulder, and I feel the rhythm shift, a shared pulse, a tangle of limbs and longing that consumes me whole. Time bends, the boundaries of us dissolving. I arch into Leo, the friction igniting waves that ripple through me, and Julian's hand slides to my thigh, steadying me as I move. The air grows thicker, heavy with the rustle of fabric, the soft creak of the bed, the unspoken currents weaving us tighter. Leo's gaze holds mine, dark and unguarded, and Julian's voice hums against my skin. Low, wordless, a sound that threads through the chaos, binding us. I tremble, caught on the edge of something vast, my body alive with their touch, the way Leo's fingers press into me, urging me on, the way Julian's steady presence balances the wildness. My chest tightens, a knot of guilt and desire unraveling together, and I feel it building, a crest I can't stop, won't stop, as they draw me deeper into this uncharted sea. The glass walls gleam beyond, reflecting us, three shadows entwined, a fragile, reckless thing I've made real. The moment stretches, taut and endless, until I collapse against Leo, my breath ragged, Julian's arm still around me, holding me steady. The room settles, the hum of the ward seeping back in, but I'm still trembling, their warmth a brand on my skin. I don't move, don't speak, just feel them. Leo's heartbeat beneath me, Julian's quiet strength beside me, and wonder how we'll ever step back from this edge. The hospital room fades behind me as I step into the corridor, the fluorescent glare stinging my eyes. My scrubs hang heavy, clinging to my skin, and I feel the weight of Leo and Julian still on me. Their touch, their breaths, a current I can't shake. The ward hums, oblivious, nurses murmuring over charts, but I'm unmoored, my pulse a jagged thing beneath my ribs. I glance back at room 317, the curtain still, and wonder what I've left behind. Dawn bleeds through the city as I drive home, the fog thinning, Seattle's edges sharpening in the gray light. My hands grip the wheel, knuckles pale, and I taste the remnants of them, Leo's warmth, Julian's steady claim, mingling with the salt of my own uncertainty. The high-rise looms ahead, its glass facade a mirror to the chaos I've wrought, And I park, the engine's silence louder than the rain tapping the roof. Inside, Julian's at the island, his blueprints untouched, his gray eyes lifting to meet mine. The air between us crackles, thick with what he knows, what we've done. "You're back," he says, his voice low, a thread of something I can't name, relief or reckoning. I shed my coat, the damp fabric pooling on the floor, and cross to the window, the city sprawling beyond, a restless pulse I feel in my bones. "We need to talk," I say, my words brittle, and he nods, rising to stand beside me. His presence is solid, familiar, but altered, like a song I've known forever, played in a new key. "What was that?" I ask, my gaze fixed on the glass, on the faint reflection of us, two figures fractured by shadows. "What you wanted," he says, and I turn, caught by the quiet fire in his eyes. What I wanted too. His hand brushes mine, tentative, and I feel the echo of last night. The way he held me, the way he joined us, and my chest tightens, guilt and longing tangling tight. "But now what?" he asks, and I don't have an answer, just the weight of his question pressing in. Later, at the hospital, I find Leo discharged, his room empty, the bed stripped bare. A note sits on the table, his scrawl jagged. "You know where to find me." My fingers trace the ink, the paper cool, and I feel the pull of him still. The heat, the chaos, the way he unraveled me. I tuck it into my pocket, a secret I'm not ready to face, and walk away, the glass windows throwing back my silhouette, alone now. Days blur, and Julian and I circle each other, the apartment a fragile truce. We don't speak of Leo, but he's there. In the quiet glances, the way Julian's hand lingers on me, testing boundaries we've redrawn. One night, the rain lashes the glass, and I stand before it, my reflection trembling. Julian joins me, his chest against my back, and I feel the question in his silence. "Where do we go from here?" "I don't know," I whisper, my breath fogging the pain, and he nods, his arms circling me, steady but not possessive. The city glitters beyond, a mosaic of light and shadow, and I think of the glass, how it holds us, reveals us, threatens to break. We've crossed a line, all three of us, and I can't undo it, can't erase the taste of them, the way they reshaped me. I turn in his hold, my hands finding his face, and we stand there, the rain a soft rhythm against the quiet. Leo's note burns in my pocket, a choice I haven't made. But Julian's here, real and flawed, and I lean into him, seeking something solid. The glass reflects us, two, not three, and I wonder if it's enough, if I can mend what's cracked, or if I'll always feel the pull of that edge, that night when we were more. The storm fades, and I close my eyes, Julian's heartbeat beneath my palm, the city's hum a lullaby. I don't know what's next, Leo's shadow, Julian's trust, my own fractured heart. But for now, I hold on, the glass around us intact, if only just.